the indoor air pollution through nature-based technologies. So that is what the focus area is for Urban Air Labs, and we've been working uh, in this venture for last 6 7 years. So we started in 2019, and now it's almost been 7 years. So that is my background, and because my current venture primarily works in the air segment, and in the air segment also we have been working with some novel and sustainable technologies to replace the conventional technologies to find remedies for indoor air pollution. So I think I might have some you know uh, my own experiences and some of the knowledge that I've gained in the last few years, that I would want to share with you all. So yeah, but as a group, what I see very interesting startup ideas, people working on very innovative ideas, and I would like to thank Steph and Madhulika and Amita to give me this opportunity to sort of share my experiences and share my knowledge with you all. So I have a few things prepared for this session, but definitely I would want to have it more interactive. The structure that I had in mind that I can go through whatever I have prepared wherever and whenever you would want, and we can get into more details if you feel those details are relevant for your startup, for what you are doing right now. And we can spend a few minutes on that, and we can continue like that. So which
I'll
would
just interrupt ek bar in between.
yeah, yeah, sure.
Before you start your presentation, I just want to introduce the cohort to STEP and to Unpollute, because this is
Okay.
a new cohort and they are, we have to tell them a little bit about STEP and more. So I'll just give a small introduction, then we'll
Yes,
start with our
yes,
presentation,
please.
right?
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you so much, Sanjay. So good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to Unpollute 26, which is the single largest platform for women in action. And I'm Madhulika from STEP. I've been talking to you guys for a while, so you'll know me. And so a little brief about STEP. STEP is an incubator for women-led startups. And at STEP, we truly really believe that women entrepreneurs are not just building businesses, they are driving societal and national progress. So since our launch in 2019, which is under the CGLS Foundation, we have supported more than over 1,000 startups. And also students, we also encourage the students a lot. So we have impacted more than 2,000 students, enabling them to raise 65 crores to follow-up funding to collectively impact more than 5 million lives across India. So, well, today each one of you becomes a part of this growing ecosystem of change. Now, as we begin this incubation journey, let us align on a shared purpose. Our shared purpose is to create a safe, empathetic, and enabling environment for all entrepreneurs, social and otherwise, through learning, mentoring, community building, and continued support. Now, about Unpollute. Let's see what Unpollute is. So Unpollute is India's largest platform for women entrepreneurs in climate action. It is designed as a space for innovation, recognition, and leadership, nurturing women-led climate solutions through incubation, masterclasses, mentoring, pitching opportunities, and ecosystem-wide networking. Now, aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, Unpollute responds to the urgent climate challenges that shape the world today. Launched in 2024, the inaugural edition of Unpollute brought together women entrepreneurs, students, government officials, industry leaders, and investors to strengthen the green economy. And with over 150 applications throughout in our previous Unpollute, the program included an intensive incubation journey, a 2-day sustainability conclave, and continued support for startups, which is again our flagship. The impact speaks for itself. Over 200 attendees at the conclave, 50 women entrepreneurs supported, 70 plus hours of immersive masterclasses and mentorship. And the pitch winners last year represented India at COP29 in Baku. Now, as a part of this incubation journey, you will attend 5 curated masterclasses, which includes today's session. So we start our journey from today. Now, I want to emphasize that regular attendance and active participation are essential. Founders who attend all sessions will earn the opportunity to pitch at the Unpollute Sustainability Conclave, which will be held at India Habitat Center, New Delhi from 12th to 14th of February 26. And the conclave will be attended by investors, ecosystem enablers, distinguished speakers, etc. Now, this time our chief guest is eminent leader Ms. Smriti Irani, and we have very big investors like Meritex Ventures, Jito, Marwari Catalyst, and so on. So request you all that if you have not registered for the conclave, please start registering. Go to our site and register yourself to attend the conclave, because registration is important for the conclave. Now, before we begin, a quick note on how we show up as a community. There are certain house rules. So Unpollute is a safe space. We expect everyone to engage with respect, inclusivity, and empathy, maintain confidentiality around ideas and discussions, participate actively, and uphold the highest standards of professional conduct. This is a space for learning, sharing, and growing together. So now, today, we are starting this journey with one of the most critical foundation of any startup, product market fit. And I'm delighted to share that we have our facilitator, Mr. Sanjay Maurya, who will be taking the masterclass today. As Sanjay said, he is the founder and CEO of UBreathe, a clean tech innovator addressing urban air pollution. He's a Shark Tank India alumni and has received funding and mentorship from Namita Thapar. His journey offers powerful insights into building solutions that truly solve real-world problems. So now over to you, Sanjay, for the session. It's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madhulika, for that nice introduction. So I was just completing my own introduction, and I feel that I might also share, what our technologies are, so that there is more relevance and people can relate to it a little better. So at Urban Air Labs, the company's name is Urban Air Labs, and the brand name is UBreathe. So at UBreathe, we are exploring nature-based technologies for indoor air pollution problems. So we currently have two flagship technologies. So one is plant-based air purification technologies. We call it breathing roots technology. It is a patented technology in India. And then the second technology is called rain shower technology, which mimics the actual rain, the natural phenomena, wherein whenever we get rain in our cities, you would feel the air is a lot fresher. So we have mimicked the same phenomena, and we have created a commercial technology out of it. We call it rain shower technology. Essentially, we clean air through water with that technology, and that technology is also patented with us. So those are the two main technologies that we have, and we have several other technologies, primarily derived and wherein we have taken inspiration from the nature itself to again find remedies for air pollution issues for urban cities. So that has been our work for last 7 years. There are a few products which are commercially available. There are a lot of products which are in the pipeline in the R&D stages. We also got the opportunity to appear on Shark Tank. Ms. Namita Thapar is an investor, and during our journey, we have received a lot of national, international recognition as well. We are backed by IIT Kanpur and IIT Ropar, and we are formally incubated at IIT Ropar. So that just to set the context of who we are and what we have been doing. So this was the introduction of the company and our technology. Coming to the product market fit, and especially for climate and sustainability related ventures, there is I've prepared a few pointers and some information that I would like to share. So let me just share my screen and go through it. And as I mentioned, would really appreciate any interruption wherever you feel that you'd want to deep dive a little more, or maybe discuss it with the larger group. So I would be happy to take that up during the presentation itself.
Perfect. Sanjay, I think you can share your screen, Sanjay.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, you can share your screen, Sanjay. It's
Yeah, I'm just trying to share my screen. Is it not visible right now?
No, it has not started.
I think it should appear now. No?
Sanjay, we cannot see your screen.
it's okay. Is it okay if you share the PPT with us and we can run it for you?
Yeah, that should be okay.
Yeah. I think there's some glitch. Let me also check at my end.
I'm just sharing it over email. If you can share it from your end.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You have sent it?
Just sharing. I've shared with you all. Madhulika and Amit, can you check from your end? In the meantime, let me also keep trying to share it.
You've sent an email, kya?
Yes.
On pollute at the rate of the step world. Yeah, got it. Okay. Amita, are you there? Perfect. It has started now.
Thank you so much, Amita. Sure.
Just let me know when I
Go
when I
to,
have to move the page.
yes.
Request you to please keep yourself on mute.
Sure, thank you. So, product market fit for climate and sustainability related ventures, and specifically PMF for the climate ventures. I would be covering three important points. One is the PMF journey for this space. Why does it feel slow? And where potentially founders get stuck, and during this journey what actually works and what does not. So those are the key aspects that I would be covering, and I would also be sharing my own experiences during this presentation. And if you feel that there is something that you can relate to, please feel free to stop me and we can discuss it then and there. Amita, could you please get to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. No, I think the second slide.
One second, I think I need to. Where is it? Yeah, is this one?
Yeah, this is the one. So, in climate startups or startups focused on sustainability or sustainable solutions, so PMF is uh, traditionally very different from when you compare it to SaaS or maybe tech startup, or maybe startups which are much more, technology driven solutions, and you find PMF for those startups. So the climate related or sustainability related startups, the PMF would be extremely different. So this is one of the things that I learned during my own journey firsthand, that the PMF for our sector, for our startups, would look very different compared to the other sector. And we speak to a lot of investors, a lot of potential buyers, or a lot of different stakeholders in the ecosystem, and they would share their own experiences, and they would try to connect the dots from their own different viewpoint. And some of those viewpoints might not be very relevant for our journey. So PMF for our startup or our space can look very different, and that can also look very different from each startup to each startup. I mean, so that one bit of learning that I got firsthand in the very early days of my own journey, which I would like to sort of pass on. So PMF, if I had to give a standard definition for sustainability or climate based startups or businesses, would essentially mean repeat adoption despite resistance. So, in most cases, the need is not clearly defined for our spaces. So instead of need, what we get is resistance. So we feel that there is some gap in the market or in the ecosystem, but there is a lot of resistance to change, and that change could be driven by our solutions or maybe some other solutions. And if we, let's say, are focusing on uh, hugely sustainable aspects of the potential solution, so we might get a lot of resistance. So to get to a position where we feel that we are almost at the PMF stage, where we have arrived and found the market fit for our solutions, uh, one thing that could give us a clear indication is the repeat adoption. And in this journey, there are three important factors that I felt would be important to share. Is that awareness is not equal to urgency. So, giving my own example, early on in 2019, there was a lot of awareness which was, getting in a lot of stakeholders' mind, government and private sector also. There was a lot of awareness. There was a lot of uh, media outreach uh, which was provided to air pollution and air quality awareness, and a lot of people were talking about air pollution and the health impacts it can have on us. But that did not mean urgency at that point in time. When I started, I saw those indicators that the awareness is building very rapidly. So maybe our solutions would be required on a very urgent basis, but that was not the case. I learned it the hard way, that awareness is not always equal to urgency. Secondly, love is not equal to adoption. That means whenever we are working in climate space, sustainability space, or maybe spaces which are much more future driven or closer to uh, United Nations sustainability development goals. So we would get a lot of recognition, lot of support from public or private domain, which would give us an indication that what we are doing is definitely required and we are moving in the right direction. But that might not always be true. So that one thing, I also learned that I received a lot of support from public and private sector. We received very high renowned grants from UN, from different agencies of Indian government as well. But that did not equate to our uh, solutions and product adoption in the market. So that was one thing that we learned during our journey in finding the right fit for the market. And lastly is speed is also not equal to signal. So what I mean by speed is not equal to signal. Essentially, there will be phases when things are moving extremely fast. We are getting a lot of support from national bodies, private or public sector. We got three, four, customers signed the deal very fast, very soon. And over the next 2 3 months we really feel that the market fit is already there because there is a lot of movement happening. And we talking from my own experience, we actually went out and started looking to get some funds to fuel our growth. But during those conversations, we really felt that the repeat business is lacking for us. And investors, potential investors, also gave us the same feedback for really putting it out that the market fit has been achieved. We really had to show that the repeat business is occurring more and more often. Whereas it was not the case for us. We really just had good 2 3 months, consistent good 2 3 months, but that did not really mean that we were close to getting to our PMF stage. So these 3 points we learned in the first couple of years itself. And at that point in time we really did not know whether this is actually uh, leading us in the right direction to identify the PMF or not. But it really felt like these are the right indicators. Whereas in the hindsight, I feel that those might not be the right indicators. So I, put it out there that awareness is not equal to urgency. Uh, uh, Getting recognition is not always equal to adoption, and speed is also not equal to signal in most of the cases. Uh, Amita, can we move to the next slide?
Yes. Is this the one?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Uh, so why PMF feels slow in climate sector or in environment sector, uh, or even in the sustainable sector? Uh, there are three, four primarily top reasons that I could figure out. So one is that there are the stakeholders. The number of stakeholders is way too much compared to the other sectors, or maybe some sectors which have a limited set of users or beneficiaries. So these stakeholders for climate or environmental based startups, uh, you can literally say that anyone and everyone is potentially affected by our solutions or the problem that we are working on. In fact, that used to be our first pitch when we said that potentially everyone is a customer for air pollution problem for our given solutions and products. And that is also true. And if you literally try to uh, narrow it down, you would find that it might not also be true. But in most cases, the number of stakeholders for environmental, climate, or sustainability based startups or businesses uh, is huge. I mean, you can start from the end consumer, then the bodies which are working uh, to get the right set of solutions to those end consumers would also be in both private and public sectors would definitely be working in those segments. And then you would also have policymakers and different set of bunch of people who are activists or maybe speaking about the problems that we are working upon. So whenever we try to come up with a solution, all of these people, all of these bodies would in some way or the other become our stakeholders, and we need to manage those stakeholders and have them a part of our journey. So the PMF journey might look like a little overwhelming at times, because we need to get everyone on board with our solutions, and our solution need to be aligned with all those philosophies and all those viewpoints. So that sometimes take a little bit of time. Then the second reason is the trust which is required in our sector, because uh, the climate sector, or the sectors which we are discussing, these are sectors which are future looking sectors. And we've been doing things for a very long time in a very conventional way, and things have been working fine. It is only now that we are looking at the problems, or maybe looking at the alternate solutions that we can find out. So there is no urgency to change things immediately, to make people think about the problems or the challenges that are coming because of the conventional ways of dealing with things, would require extremely high trust. So for example, people have been living in metro cities in Delhi, or other parts of India, and breathing all sorts of polluted air for a very long time. And the impact on health is also long term in nature. So to come up with a solution, and to tell the end consumers that these solutions would change your life potentially, firstly the stakeholders would look at us and ask why you are the right person. Forget about the solution and everything. They would need to have some trust in our abilities, in what we are speaking and everything. So to get to that stage, to build those trust, we also needed to upskill ourselves, because these are not the topics which are traditionally taught during our uh, you know educational background. So we also needed to learn a lot of new things, upskill ourselves, build our own profile, get a lot of recognition, um collaborate with different educational bodies, and all those things needed to be done in order for the stakeholders to actually trust what we are going to offer. So that is another thing which we had to do even before we were able to work on PMF. Third thing is the operational and behavioral changes, and I'm sure all of you guys would relate to it. The things that we are going to offer is unconventional, or maybe future looking, or modern in nature. And to adopt to these changes, there will be a lot of changes which would have to be done in how we are going about our daily lives day to day, and all these stakeholders how they are going about things. And that change, uh, it is very hard to push people without any external requirement, or external push to drive those changes. So everyone likes to talk about sustainable aspects, and how their actions are affecting or not affecting the environment in a long term. But when it comes to the actual routine changes, or maybe making some changes in what they are consuming on a daily basis, would require a lot of behavioral changes, and it would come with a lot of resistance, internal resistance. So that takes a lot of time sometimes. And during our PMF journey, uh, we would feel that we are going in circles. We are trying to get to the right product or right solution, but there is a lot of resistance in adoption. And then we work on the challenges which are coming because of the adoption, and because of that we are not able to work on the product or the solutions that we are offering. And the whole journey could feel like we are going in circles, we are not able to make any progress. So ultimately, we also felt the same. It came down to a point wherein we spent 3 years just understanding who are the right stakeholders, how can we build higher trust, how can we push them for some behavioral changes and all those things. And at the same time, our technology was also not sort of getting perfected to a scale where we really wanted it. And we used to compare our startup, our business, to the traditional uh, uh, tech startups, wherein the tech startups usually take 1 or 2 weeks to bring any changes in their offering, and they can quickly test it also with the limited set of stakeholders and get to the next stage of their product cycle. So compared to those startups, we really felt that our PMF journey is extremely slow, and at point we felt that we are not even moving forward. So but now looking at it in the hindsight, we I feel that understanding these 3 4 things, that because the number of stakeholders is high, because we need to also build trust, we need to invest in our own abilities as well before we actually work on the PMF, and because the operational and behavioral change will take its own time, definitely have its own toll, and the PMF journey can take some time. And lastly, if the PMF journey is slow, it does not always equal to that the PMF is not going to be achieved, or the PMF is not strong enough to pursue our idea. So that is something that I would want to sort of part, that these things should be kept in our mind while we are sort of getting to the right PMF, or maybe going through our PMF journey. Amita, can we go to the next slide?
Can I just
Right.
interrupt here? If
Yeah, sure.
anybody has any question, they can go ahead and ask questions. Anybody who has any question for Sanjay, then please make it interactive so that you understand more and the facilitator also knows.
Yeah, hi Sanjay, it's me Neha. I wanted to know, since how long have you been running You Breathe, and what is your experience of working with women entrepreneurs?
Sure. Hi, Neha. I've been running UBreathe for last 7 years, and the initial 3 4 years we primarily worked on getting the technology right, because we are working in a segment which is related to health tech. So we really wanted our technology to be perfected before we actually come to the market. And after those 3 4 years, we've been operationally available and commercially available in the market. So that, I mean, just in a nutshell, what has been our experience. And in terms of women entrepreneurs, Neha, I mean, my experience, if I had to sort of summarize in a so I actually have been in startup ecosystems since 2013. And in 2013, when I started my own journey, I had a lot of sort of people whom I used to look up to. And when uh, I started You Breathe, there was a point in time when I felt that there is something missing in our approach, and I was not able to pinpoint what is missing. Uh, and ultimately, I realized that I was not able to understand the customer mindset clearly. And uh, when I went deeper into the problem that I was facing, I realized that my my buyer is primarily a male person, but my consumer is primarily a female person. So for air pollution segment, for air purifiers, most of the consumer who's going to use the product is going to be the female person in the household, and they would figure out, which purifiers needs to be purchased for their kids, for their parents or such people. And I was really missing how to really get into their mindset, and how do I understand their decision making sort of process. So then I started actually to look out for some female founders, how they understand the businesses, or uh, uh, how do they go about their own journey. So at honestly speaking, in 2020, around that time, I actively started looking out for women entrepreneurs, and I got in touch with a bunch of great female entrepreneurs who are running their own startups. And it really opened up my mind, because I you know before that I really not did not get a chance to look at the startup founders from this lens, female founders or male founders. I did not look at it from this lens. But when I got the chance, I felt that there is a clear difference in the perspective, there is a clear difference in the approach, the amount of uh, the details people go into while building their own solution is very different, or the perspectives are very different. So around that point in time, I realized that female founders clearly have a different perspective. They see problems from a different lens. And my overall experience has been that I and to be very honest, I feel that the entire ecosystem, startup ecosystem, has been missing out on a few things when we are not actively involving female founders to the discussions, or to the table. But when I realized it, I started getting a lot of female founders in my network. I actively speak to those founders very frequently, get their inputs, and now I feel there is a lot of balance in my approach as well. So that I feel is going to be also something which the entire ecosystem need to be also uh, you know sort of understand in coming time, and that would also eventually happen, and the balance would definitely come in the coming time. But that is not something which is optional, I feel. So the overall experience has been tremendous. It was an eye opener for me, and a lot of female entrepreneurs are now coming up as well, so that number is also increasing. So it's fantastic. But yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anyone else who has a question related to PMF today's session?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
hi. Hello. Yes.
Hi.
Sir, please
Yeah.
switch on your camera when you are talking to the facilitator. It really, you will enjoy the conversation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just want to understand that until the investors is there, uh, how confidence you were there to continue that thought process for the almost 3 years, and how to get sustained.
Right. So Rajesh, if I'm getting the name right, thank you for the question, and I can repeat the question. You can correct me if the question is correctly understood. Your question is, before the actual investment, how do we finance our startup journey? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. And how to get that confidence.
How to get the confidence of getting an investor on board, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, sure. So, sure. So for startup, any startup or any business, I think in my experience, what I've seen is that getting an investor or getting an investment becomes uh, a milestone or a goal, so to say. And if we get to this goal, one of the check boxes will be ticked. So that is the kind of notion that I receive from a lot of people or young entrepreneurs. While I see this activity as a very different kind of activity. Investment is just a tool. So as I was mentioning that before talking to potential buyers or potential investors, I also needed to upskill myself. I needed to invest in my own skills. So getting some outside knowledge was something which was very important for me. Investment is also to me very similar to that. If my journey or my startup or my business requires financial support from outside or from external stakeholders or someone from outside, uh, from external stakeholder, let's say, so that would be something that I would have to do uh, in any case. So it is just a tool for me. Getting an investment is a tool for me to continue my journey, or maybe double down on my journey. So I see it like that. So the startup journey would tell you that now is a good time to get some financial support. And financial support is not just an investment from a traditional VC. It can also come from grants. It can also come in different forms. It can come in forms of loans and bank guarantees and all those things. But the startup journey would tell me that now is a good time for me to look for some financial support. Before that point, when I am not clear for what I need the financial support, I would not be comfortable looking out for that financial support as well. So for example, given my background, fortunately, I always had some options of some investments or but I waited for 3-4 years before actually going out and looking out for investment. The thing is that I was not confident enough that where the funds would come primarily, and if I would be able to give a return good to those investments. I really needed to focus on the technology, understanding the myself. I was able to come as an expert in my own field. And when I felt the timing is right, I'm an expert, I know a lot of things, I can really drive those changes. That confidence came itself, and I really felt ready to get some external funds, and I started looking out for seed investment. And that really helped me to double down on my journey. And it was just a tool, as I mentioned. It's not something which is I mean, it cannot change the whole journey drastically. It can just help you take the next step. So if I understood that clearly, that's
And it is more of knowledge and creating a better society.
right.
Can I take this up, Sanjay?
Yeah, please.
Rajesh ji, we are definitely going for a fundraising session on this, and we're going to invite a fundraiser and an investor who can answer to all of you these questions. Or maybe this question can be taken in the
Yes,
last,
yes.
because otherwise it will disturb the rhythm of today's session, which is product market
No,
fit. Will that be okay?
it was, yeah, it's okay.
Thank you
Just
so much.
one
Thank you.
experience.
We are there to answer all your questions, but that things happen according to what we have
Yes,
planned.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
thank you so much. Thank you.
But Rajesh, you can definitely reach out to me separately. I would be happy to sort of share my experiences. Yeah, but we can maybe
Yes, yes.
yeah, go through our presentation once, and we will have time, I
Yeah.
think,
Yes,
towards
Thank
the
you
yes,
so
end.
yes.
much, Sanjay, for this. Aarti, please present the screen. Aarti?
Yes, yes, sharing. Yes.
Slide number.
Right. Sure. So, coming to the nitty-gritties of identifying our PMF journey. So there are three important sort of pillars that we need to take care of. So one is buyer, second is user, and third one is beneficiary. Usually, in most cases, these three stakeholders are different. So buyer is someone who pays for our solution. User is someone who operates or who uses our products, and beneficiary is someone who gets benefited out of these products or solutions. uh, in most of the cases, these three people would not be the same people. And if we want to get our PMF right, we need to take care of all these three people. We cannot just focus on one particular stakeholder and forget about the rest of the two stakeholders. And in my experience, this is a common mistake, especially in our domain, or environmental domain, that we most often focus on one particular stakeholder, and have our pitch, have our entire focus just given to that particular stakeholder. So, for example, in our own case as well, the beneficiary is actually, for indoor air pollution problem through our products or solution, is the family who is, let's say, staying at home, or enjoying our products, or getting benefited from the services that we are providing. And we really focused only on that stakeholder. How do we make their lives, or how do we increase the efficiency of our gas, and those kind of things. And while doing so, we forgot about the actual buyer or the user. That really pushed us a little back in a PMF journey. So, giving another example, let's say uh, someone is working in B2B setup, whereas the buyer might be a person who's the owner of a factory, who will really sign the check for you. So that the second person, the factory executive or the operators who uses your solutions or machines in order to produce something. So those people would be users, and the beneficiary would be the end consumer who are getting those end products in their hand. So let's say if our entire focus is only on the, let's say, people who are operating your machines or solutions, how do we make their lives easier? How do we make our machines or solutions easier for them to sort of operate? It doesn't produce this much of pollution or this and that, and we necessarily take other people in consideration who are buyer and beneficiary, the entire PMF cycle would break. So whenever we are going through our PMF journey, really pinpoint who is the buyer, who is the user, who is beneficiary, and how our solution are or sort of learning from my
Until then, a quick question which I would like Sanjay to answer. Like you talk of this misaligned. So what do you do to bring the alignment?
right. So I think my slides would definitely cover, but the answer to that, firstly, we need to understand where is the misalignment. So, for example, let me give our own example. We have in in school authority, in different schools in buyer is actually but the buyer, who's the director or the school principal, they did not know where that fund would come from. How do they give me that money? And I was not able to answer that question. So my entire product or solution was not able to push into those sectors. So this is a clear miss, that's something that we did not think of. So ultimately, we understood, these happen primarily because of some compliance issue, or maybe if you are able to give them a clear metric that, this is one metric that would be increased or decreased if you are able to adopt these solutions. And to help those metric, they can identify some budget options. So for example, we gave them a promise that if you are going to use our products, your attendance would increase by 5%. And if your attendance is increasing by 5%, or maybe the numbers or the votes that kids are getting, those would increase by 2%. So the parents would be ultimately happier. You can, add into your sort of success metric of school the session, and then you can charge a little, thoughts that people will appreciate. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Right. So, right. So I was actually getting to this point only, that uh, who actually wants the solution is not always the most active person or active, you know, the person who's speaking a lot about it, uh, not the person someone who is at the right position to take all those decisions. Uh, in most of the cases, the person or the stakeholder who would be your early adopter would be the adopter, or the person who is either facing some regulatory issue. So for example, if they don't adopt such changes or solutions, they would get into some regulatory sort of compliance issue, or they are losing money. There are some financial down to the conventional methods that they are using now. Third is the reputational damages. For example, this is uh, something that, especially at people are now looking at, because they need to also file a lot of annual CSR report and see it from that lens as well. Can we go to the next uh, slide? Uh, So validation, if we are in moving in the right direction in our PMF journey, how would that come? Firstly, pilots is a definitely is a fantastic way of knowing that we are getting pilots. We are able to fulfill the objectives, whatever we are, being asked to. Second, and one I feel that we really miss out on, is internal champions. So internal champion is someone uh, who's not a buyer, who's not even sometimes not even an operator, or maybe not even a beneficiary, but still pushing our solutions or pushing our products. So if you are able to create those champions uh, in outside organization, who silently just pushing our uh, methodology or pushing our communication to some potential buyers, so that is a clear validation. If people are talking about you, let's say in a different organization, they are pushing it to their senior managers or the leadership teams, or maybe just speaking in their own WhatsApp groups about you. So if we are able to create those kind of champions who are uh, working for us in, just for goodwill, so that is a clear validation that the solutions are being appreciated, and people really are uh, looking forward to much more implementation in their own areas. Third one is, if procurement is happening, that's a good indication. We get a lot of queries. What is the price of it? How can we afford it? Those are the right conversations to have. Whether it happens or not, that is a different case, but if those kind of conversations are happening, so that is a clear validation that our solutions is needed. And lastly is complaint and friction. Sometimes we take it very negatively, but I feel it is very important in validating in what we are doing. So let's say if we have implemented some solutions at some place and we are getting a lot of complaints that this is not working, please come and solve this and this and that, my person is not able to operate this, that is also a very good sign that people are actively looking to use our services, uh, and not just for the sake of it, just putting it out there and just forgetting about it. So that is also a good validation that the services or the products that we have provided are being used and it is of need to some people. So those are some of the validation that we can find during our PMF journey. uh, yeah. Madhurika, can we move to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
Right. Low cost pilot. So this is also one of the learnings that whenever we do pilots, we need to have a very clearly put scope of the project, and it should be very narrow in mind, narrow in nature. The timeline needs to be extremely short because anyway we have a very short timeline, or lifeline for any startup or a new business. So from our side, the timeline should be very short, and the success criteria should be extremely well put out. uh, you know uh, the pilot, we can get a lot of appreciation, good PR or marketing value out of it, but if we don't have a clear success metric, it sometimes mislead us that the pilot has been very successful. And one clear sort of criteria is to get one champion out of it. So for example, in our experience, we worked with a university for air purification project, wherein the college had a lot of high polluted zones inside of the university, and we had to sort of come up with a strategy wherein some key zones of their colleges were extremely safe, so they wanted some breathing zones inside of the college. So we created those breathing zones. The air quality was fantastic in those zones, and we, fortunately for us, had a very specific air quality number that we had to maintain. So if we were able to maintain those numbers, for us it was a clear success for us. Other than the fact that the whole initiative is extremely well thought of, it looks brilliant, all those things were good, but for us the simplest success metric was that if we were able to maintain a healthy air quality for more than 90% of the time. And lastly, if we were able to create one champion out of the whole pilot project. So that was also very essential for us, because as I mentioned, that we had to sort of also focus on other stakeholders, not just the end consumer or the beneficiary, but also someone who's operating our machinery. They're also enjoying it. They're talking about us. They're talking about feedback in some good way. So those are some of the key metric that we really followed, and we were really bullish on these things. If those are not achieved, we did not consider the pilot to be a successful pilot. And then we had multiple of such pilots, and by the end of fifth or sixth pilot, we really felt that the product or the services that we are offering is now being asked uh, without our efforts also. So that was also a clear indication that we are very close to the market fit. uh, yeah, next slide please. Right. Feedback that matters, as I mentioned, especially in the climate or environment space, because the space is so novel, because the initiative is itself is extremely novel, because we have a lot of other options to work or invest our times, but we chose that we want to invest our time in climate or environment or sustainability related topics. So in itself, by design, the initiative would be appreciated a lot, and I'm sure you would relate to it, that we would get a lot of appreciation, a lot of praise or awards or support from public or private sector, but that might not always be the right feedback to focus upon. We also got misleaded by that early on in our journey. Uh, we got a lot of good feedback. I mean, we slept very happily after the day's work, that we are doing good work. But after a few months, even early couple of years, we really felt that the progress has not been that much. Although our work is appreciated, but the progress is extremely slow. So instead of that, we started focusing upon the rejections that we were getting, why we are getting rejections, why uh, there is a lot of pushback on the pricing, because those pushback ultimately was teaching us that if you want to reach to the market fit, then there is a price point, there is a right price point that we need to focus upon. So those were the things we started focusing on, and ultimately those really helped us to get closer to the PMF. All the appreciation was really misleading for us. So that is something that, especially in the climate or environmental sector, it's very important. A lot of people I've seen get misleaded, by a lot of good talks about them. So yeah. Maybe next slide, please. Right. Uh, so adoption barriers, whenever as I mentioned, if we are able to get some pilots or push our product to the end consumer, or the person who's going to buy, there will be a lot of adoption barriers that we need to be very mindful of. Behavioral resistance, because things are anyway happening, whether or not we are you know there. So there is a lot of resistance in behavioral change, that things are happening for last so many years, why do we need to change now? So that we would get a lot. Then there would be cost sensitivity, and the cost sensitivity would not arise from the actual cost. The cost sensitivity most of the times would arise from lack of benchmarking. So for example, everyone has a benchmark for all kind of expenses. But if there is a new product, there is a new service, we don't really have a benchmark in place. So for example, if we uh, you know come up with a new chocolate, let's say, everyone has a price range in mind, that I can spend maybe 50 rupees or 1,000 rupees, up to 1,000 rupees for a chocolate bar, not beyond that. uh, but it's a benchmarking that we have in place. But let's say if we are coming up with an extremely new thing, which no one has thought about really. So for, let's say, our case, air purifiers, most of our consumers are first time air purifiers buyer. So they don't have actually any benchmark in place. So any price point would be very high price point for them. So there will be a lot of cost sensitivity. There will be a lot of discussion on the cost. How do we justify those costs and those kind of things? So that we need to be very mindful of. Trust deficit, as I mentioned, I see a lot of young people in this group as well, and a lot of young people coming in climate or environmental space. And it's only natural that the other person would think that if the other person is the right person or has the complete knowledge of what they're speaking about. So the trust factor would always be there, and as I mentioned, we also should be mindful and upskill ourselves as well, so that we can build or maybe fill that trust deficit gap. And lastly, operational friction. Any new change in the process, I'm sure you would relate to it with some, why do we need to do this like this? we've been doing it like this for a very long time. So those changes would take time, and we need to be very mindful and patient about it. Right. Next slide, please. Right. So what not to do, as I've been mentioning, never compare our own matrix to a tech-based startup or SaaS product or those kind of startups and the matrix that they have. So whenever we get chance, I would recommend we do it early on as soon as possible. We set out our own matrix very clearly when we think would be the right stage for us to be called as a PMF, post PMF startup or company. So those metrics should be clearly put out and should not be hidden from us. Second, before understanding why there is so much resistance coming in implementation, because that resistance would be there even when we try to scale. And if we are not able to understand that resistance, maybe our scaling efforts would not give us those returns which we would feel be be the right returns when we go out and scale our products or solutions. And especially if people who are looking for investment opportunities, uh, sometimes I've seen investments definitely can come, but if we are not really confident about understanding the resistance or understanding the challenges why things are not being able to move so fast as we would have hoped, the scaling efforts might not yield the same benefits as it should be. And lastly, pilots are not PMF. Pilots are just there to correct what we are doing on a real-time basis, improve upon our offerings or solutions or products. Uh, we if we get 3 or 4 pilots, and especially if it is government or public supported pilot, it should never be confused with the PMF. PMF is something when you, as I mentioned, the clear definition of PMF would be very simple, uh, which I would cover in the next slide. But largely, it is a point when you are getting repeat businesses out of the same users or same consumer. Next slide, please. Right. So as I was saying, the PMF, the standard PMF definition, it can definitely differ for startup. But standard definition, if we had to put out, these would be the simplest matrix to really tell us if the PMF has been achieved or not. If we have a second customer without uh, too much push from our side, there is a lot of pull that is coming from the market. You're getting referred to some other person or some other customer. So if you are getting second customer or third customer without spending too much on the marketing or too much pushing your product out. Second is renewables. I mean, renewables slash repeat business. This is the single biggest indicator if the product or the offering that we have is actually being, required in this space. If you are able to get repeat business out of the single customer. Then third one, as I mentioned, internal advocacy. It is actually the same as champion. If people are advocating on our behalf, despite whether they are involved with us, whether they have some ulterior motive or not, if there are some internal advocacy happening, if we are able to create some internal champions, that is fantastic. And lastly, there is willingness to pay. It can happen that the willingness to pay or the pricing that they are looking at is slightly different, or they are looking for some discounts or anything like that, but there is definitely a willingness to pay. So those are some of the simplest PMF metric that we should can look forward to. And other than that, in my experience, all the other matrix is, I mean, more or less useless, especially the ones wherein there is a lot of appreciations or awards and those things are mentioned. So those things are are something that need to be sort of mindful about. And in the last slides, I think Aarti has just closed it, but I've given the PMF checklist, which covers largely all these things, and it can be a test which can be taken in your own time. And if you feel that it might be useful, you can definitely look it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this is the checklist. Especially people who are in the early stages of their startups, who's actually the customer reality. So these things you can fill it in your own time. What is the urgency? So urgency is again a very important factor. We might be doing a fantastic initiative, but if there is no urgency, we might be at, at a wrong time, wrong place kind of a situation. Then other factors, primarily adoption resistance, why there is so much resistance. If we can understand these things, definitely we can look for some scaling efforts. Next slide, just Madhulika. Then the validation signals, as I mentioned, validation should be extremely simple. You can design it for your own startup, but for a standard startup, you should be able to tick one or two boxes out of it. If there is no boxes ticked, then definitely there is no PMF. So repeat usage, willingness to pay, procurement discussion, internal champion, pilot with efforts, those kind of things. And then there are some not to do things as well. So I would be okay if Madhulika and team can would want to share it across. You can use it or maybe modify it for your own startup. So yeah, so this was my presentation, more or less, and I've tried to share my own learnings throughout. Yeah, happy to take some questions.
Everyone, now the stage is open for the questions. If there are multiple people, you can just raise your hand and just go accordingly. Yeah, please, Stuti.
Madhulika, I'll just take 1 minute and I'll just come
Yes,
back if
yes, please, yes. So how is everyone enjoying the sessions? Was this session good and relevant?
Yes, yes. Very nice and short and curated.
Okay.
Very specific.
Yes. I again have a request. There's a person where we can see a phone name Xiomi2312. Who is this person? Can you please rename yourself? It's Xiomi2312. Because unless until we know your name, we will not be able to mark your attendance and will not know who's attending the. Right. So Sanjay has given a case study of almost his own startup, which I thought is a very relevant case study that he's put. And this could be very beneficial for all of you because what better than have a great example in front of us.
Yeah. See, also one of the very important thing what I'm feeling, why it is getting very slow in terms of climate change is, see, the climate change is a very global factor where everyone are going to get benefit.
Yeah.
But the people are become very specific. They think that what they want or what they, it's like becoming a selfish. So that's how that the global climate change is getting very less impact compared to the individual.
Very true. Very true.
What I personally felt in my process.
True. True. Yes, Tuti.
And also, when we talk about climate change and this thing and all, so it becomes very social impact. It's not like a business that we want billions of money to be made and all. So this is an indication that we are going for some kind of level of welfare for the society, money making.
Yes, yes, Stuti, please go ahead.
Yes. So, as you mentioned, the product market fit in terms of readoption. So, I wanted to understand that uh, is there any link between distribution channels and your product being fit for the market? Like you mentioned that you had tested with this university, I guess, and you also mentioned while explaining before that you have your customers schools. Right. So, does that make any difference? Your product being fit, as you consider your product being fit for the market, in terms of distribution channels you have adopted. Like, I'll give you my example as well. This Shujan Agrotech Produce Company works in the distribution or the marketing of the products that rural women create as an entrepreneurs. So we work on marketing of millet-based products which are native to Maharashtra. So right now we are focusing just on exhibitions part because we do not, matlab right now we do not have any capacity to install a unit in nearby urban markets. So we are just preferring exhibitions for marketing our products, and we had a great response over there. So can matlab where should I make my what product? Matlab, how should I consider my product being fit for market if I do not have established distribution channels so that can be reused, rebought, and readopted?
So, understood. So, if I understood the question correctly, let's say we are in that stage wherein we are not able to invest a lot on getting to the right distribution channel, but still we are getting some response. uh, but response might not in itself be enough to tell me if there is a repeat business or not, or maybe the response, the quality of response or maybe quantity of response is not very clear to me because of the restriction in the distribution channel that we have. So if that should also be considered while analyzing if the PMF journey, where are we actually in the PMF journey? So, Stuti, that's a very valid question and very interesting question as well. So, as I mentioned, we need to design our own PMF journey for our own startup and basis on what constraints we have in our businesses. So, as you're mentioning that currently you definitely have some constraint in getting to the right distribution channel, whether it is the right channel for you or not. You might have some better understanding on that. But you feel that the distribution channel is slightly limiting for you. And because of that, you are not able to, let's say, necessarily are able to get repeat business or maybe really understand the end consumer also, right? So for your case, I mean, distribution channel should be uh, discounted, is what I would feel, in really understanding your PMF journey. And you could also look at some other opportunities, other areas wherein you can try to identify if uh, your products are near to PMF or not, wherein you can, just random example, you can maybe start a small WhatsApp community or maybe social media community, wherein you have a limited set of people or maybe 100 or 200 people. You're pushing, I mean, your ultimate goal is to directly engage with the end consumer, right? So, in whichever way you are able to engage with the end consumers directly in your own capacity, and then you see the response, what is the response, what is the repeat purchase behavior, what is the willingness to pay, if there is a conversation on the pricing and on those kind of things. So essentially cutting out the middleman for a small scale project would be something that I would probably think in your position, because unless there is until there is a middleman or there is a channel which you feel is might not be the right channel, you would definitely be blindsided and might not receive direct feedback from the consumer. But yes, I mean, technically speaking, in your PMF journey, distribution channel would not be considered as a very important factor. Distribution channel and those things can definitely come up when you try to scale or optimize your operations and growth. But at your scale, if you are looking at getting to the right PMF, that should not be something that should be worried too much. Or I mean, you can directly do a lot of other experimentations to observe and understand your PMF. Yeah.
Can I add some couple of points to this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I am also in close association with millets and organic foods and all in and around Mysore. We have a network. So one of the area what I can feel to assist her is probably go to the residential schools where the food is a basic need, and millets can be we can create awareness in the school colleges, provide this product to them because the meal is offered every day. So in that way we can it will be injected because it will be a continuous market.
Right.
Yeah. Anyone else? Questions, please? Anything that you want to ask the facilitator?
Hi, Sanjay. This is Tapan. Thank you so much for that presentation. It was very concise and insightful to me. I'm not really sure if you've mentioned it already in detail. I wanted to ask you, when did you realize that you've achieved PMF?
Sure. I was not able to pinpoint who's speaking. I am guessing Tapan, right?
Tapan from the Lab. Yes.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you, Tapan. I appreciate your feedback and really like the fact that you like the presentation. For us, PMF, I would say when we started to get references was the point we realized that our product or solution is very close to the PMF. Actually, we are still not spot on the pricing at the moment. We are trying to get to the pricing point, but there is a lot of willingness to pay. There is a repeat business. There is a lot of referrals that we get, and that is why we think there is clearly a gap that we are filling and bridging through our products and solutions. So that was a clear indication that we are very close to the PMF. We still are actually not sort of spot on the pricing, but we feel that once the pricing is sort of closed from our end, we would definitely be 100% post PMF company. But at this point, we are extremely close to the PMF.
Awesome. If there's nobody else, I'll just follow up with one small question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is in regard to how approaching the investors. Now, would everything that you mentioned, right? Now, this is from the point of view of the founders, right? Are these the same points of view from investors as well? Let's just say you're ticking all the boxes that you mentioned, and then would the investors still go, no, we don't think you're there yet in terms of product market fit? Can that happen in terms of sustainability and climate tech startups at least?
Not really. So this is strictly from a founder's point of view. Investors' point of view would be extremely different, and it can also be extremely abstract in nature. I mean, depending on the stage of investments that you are. So, for example, if we are in the ideation stage, or we are an idea stage startup, the investments that I've seen can vary from a very strategic investment to a point that it is just given because of your face. So, how investors would think, what is their criteria, what check boxes need to be ticked, or those kind of things are going to be extremely different. I am primarily speaking from a founder's point of view, and primarily speaking from a point of view wherein if someone wants to build a sustainable business out of it, of some novel idea that they have, especially in environment or climate space. So sustainable business only would come after, we have reached PMF, we have ticked all these boxes. In this journey, we can definitely get a lot of funding, lot of support from private, public, and all those things can definitely happen regardless of our PMF stage, regardless of our own ideology and all those things. Those are extremely different conversations. Maybe if there is an investment session, you would definitely get good insight on that. Uh, but sustainable business and getting an investments are not always uh, aligned. So you can get investments 1 or 2 rounds and still don't have a sustainable business model, and vice versa also. You can have sustainable business model and might not even get investments. So those are not strictly aligned. So whatever I spoke, it is strictly from a founder's point of view.
I get. No, thank you so much, Sanjay. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Sure. I think, Madhulika, there is no more question, but I would be happy to sort of engage with you all if you would
If you
want to
need
connect with me.
some
Yeah.
R&D funds for this sustainable and all, is there any kind of a portal or a government supported thing to make a lot of R&D on this funds for the
Rajesh
R&D?
ji, yes, yes. In fact, in my experience, uh, to fuel our R&D efforts, there is a lot of support which is provided by governments. There is, huge sort of movement, and there is a lot of programs and schemes from different national and state bodies. And fueling our R&D efforts, I feel like public support is the best way to go for it, because getting an investment for R&D efforts is always going to be tricky, because people from traditional investment space, they would want to look at your numbers, how fast we can get the ROI from our investment. And if we are in the R&D stage, we are going to look for some silent capital, some patience from the other party. So there might be some misalignment. And that, in fact, that was one of the reasons we early on did not take formal investments, and fueled our R&D efforts by own investment, our own savings, and some public support. And once we felt that the product is now ready, it can be commercially sold outside, we started looking out for formal investment, not before that. But yes, there are some patient VC, uh, firms you can definitely reach out to for R&D sort of expenses as well. But yes, there is a lot of focus given by the government, by the public side, and you can definitely reach out to those areas. I mean, yeah. Yeah, please.
I was just wondering about the name being product market fit. So is there something like service market fit also exist? And if so, how matlab, these two things are related, how these two are similar or different? I want to know that thing as well.
Right. I mean, answer to this, but yes, product in itself is not, just limited to the actual product. It can be a service, it can be an offering, or anything. So as long as it is meeting the market's demand, I mean, we can take that definition forward to service or anything else as well. But yes, I mean, yeah, in my understanding, that should be it. We can check on limit to, yeah.
So I think we don't have any questions now.
Right. Right on, already we have created a lot of examples, but our point point of junction. We need government participation, public and me, all together. So that bridge is getting missed in my process actually to scale up to a very large scale. If that is there, this concept can be. It is very much needed. It is under 2016 Act. C&D West is been announced as one of the major thing, and I am trying to create a solution for that as a net zero waste, and already I am doing in Mysore. So only thing is, in my scale at a individual level, I am trying to. So still we have city corporation, but still getting the land and getting the network is getting still in process.
Understood. So Rajesh, I would be very
So
interested in understanding your work in detail. Maybe we should separately catch up. We will definitely connect and see what
I'm basically an
we can
architect
discuss.
and then passion
Hmm.
between around net zero building way, making net zero energy, and also organic agriculture and all. We have a network of people, professionals with whom we have made a team and trying to deliver these things in a one point solution.
Okay.
So if Sanjay, somebody wants to connect with you, what is the best way that they could? Should we pass on LinkedIn
This is
ID?
a founders. Yeah, this is a founders community. I would be okay if you can float around my direct number. I don't have any problem. So you can share my number and my email ID. So, uh, yeah, happy to connect with everyone or whomsoever. Yeah.
Great. So since we do not have any more questions for Sanjay, I think we'll tell him thank you now for the session. This was a very nice session, and we are very grateful to you for sharing your time and experience and your insights with us. And thank you so much, Sanjay, for being
So
with
much,
us.
Madhulika, and thank you so much, everyone, for listening to it. I hope there was something that you were able to relate to, and if something was missed, extremely happy to discuss and get into more details. Yeah, so we'll be looking forward to it. Yeah, thank you so much,
Happy
everyone.
Sankranti. Happy
Thanks.
Sankranti to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
so much.
please, others, stay back. We have a small announcement to make.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
So before everybody logs off, thank you for joining the session. I hope it was a good session, very relevant and informative. And your Unpollute journey starts from today. The first session, the first masterclass that